time letting go, because simply they're not meant to leave this type of school. They have too many desires to get out. They have too many fears and doubts still. It's painful to witness that, it really is. Because you think of people that are so obsessed on trying to control something. Look at these, Illuminati brotherhoods and these dark powers they're the biggest cowards of all, and they need the most love. Because they're so obsessed with, I must control, because they're afraid to realize they are not the head of God. They are an equal part and parcel. They are an equal micro-God as you are, as I am. There's no supremacy. There's no supremacy. As our souls reincarnate and as we get new experiences and new awarenesses, as we travel across the cosmos more and more, I'll use the old Hindu term. We are all meant to become, I hope I pronounce it correctly, Ishvaras. So basically what this means in short terms is we are meant to become gods. We will eventually, it's even in Christianity, it's even in the Bible. Christ says, he doesn't want to see us stop until we are perfect. Be perfect even as your Father in heaven is perfect. And when we graduate, Jesus also says, and in that time you will ask me nothing. We will have nothing more to ask God, because we will be of the same understanding. You and I are destined to eventually, and it's not anytime soon for us who are here, but we're destined to eventually be gods ruling a cosmos with love, with understanding, not hate mongering. You see these video games where it says be your own king, be your own ruler. Don't think for a minute that you're meant to go out into the wide grand cosmos with hate and with foul behavior. You are here, I am here. We are quarantined on this planet until we become holy, and then our privileges increase. It's proven simply that we don't get what we want, at least half the time, right? Our will doesn't get its answer like that. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. And when there is a yes and when there is a no, there are forces in charge of allowing and disallowing that. Nothing is just, mere happenstance. It's not a haphazard thing. There is order in the seeming chaos. There is no chaos. It's order in the seeming chaos. It's all karma. It's all purposes. There is nothing that can separate you from you, me from me, and nothing also that can separate me from you and you to me. We are of the same spark. We hear the word love. We all understand it. Not all of us perhaps feel it as vibrantly as some others perhaps. Do I feel as much love as the star brothers and sisters or as the God? I'm not that big yet. I want to be that big. I won't stop until I am that big. And that's the same for you. Whether we know things or not, we don't decide what's true. They are true or they're not true, universal things. So, how to discover the you, the I, the is. You gotta take the time. Like I said before, we're in a microwave culture that we think quick fix or nothing at all, or I don't want to do the effort, or let somebody else do that. When you're ready for it, you will look for it, you will find it. If you're not ready for it, you'll violently oppose it, even if it's just with rejection. And then, no, I don't want that. Look at the people trying to control the planet. Think of how mad. They are in a mode of insanity, trying to control something because they don't feel the love. They don't want to surrender. See, it's about surrendering. When you surrender to love, when you surrender to the true God, when you surrender to being, the real being, all these great pieces of knowledge, all this great love, and flowing like a waterfall, all these mystical experiences, all these fantastic dreams, all this enjoyment and energy, it all starts coming bigger and bigger and cascading. It's overwhelming sometimes. I've had experiences that scared the crap out of me by surrendering. I said, oh, I'm not ready for that. I'll give you one quick one. Very frightening and very real. These kind of powers. And happened on two occasions. On one occasion, I was working as a janitor in a big mall. This is 10 years ago. And just doing my thing, and I was thinking, I was reading the Bible a lot, New Testament a lot. New Testament much more so than the Old. And discovering and a lot of soul searching. And I started to understand the power of soul and mind over this dull matter. And I was going towards cleaning the bathrooms, and I almost, with the power of mind, because I was focusing so intently, broke the door, like splintered the door in two with the mind. And as I was getting into it, my angel guide kind of said, no, 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 no. So I kind of snapped out of it. It was like being in a major trance. Many people have experienced that. I've had a friend, he and his girlfriend, this is a guy from Montreal, he's older than I am. He and his girlfriend one time were sitting down on a couch, and there was an ashtray on the table. Now, I wasn't there to witness it, but I do believe him. They were both focusing so much on the ashtray, and he said to her, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" And she said, "Yes." And they broke the ashtray into a few pieces with the power of mind. Now, a lot of people think that, oh, that's all rubbish. But is it? Do you really know? Or are you just repeating a second or third hand knowledge that you were told? Well, science says it's impossible, so. Is that something you really investigated, or did I really investigate it, or am I taking a word? Again, like Red Elk says, don't take my word for it. Go see for yourself. No, I don't mean go and try and break an ashtray in two or split a door, but I mean, what do we really know as being true or not true? That's the point. It's difficult. Now I can say this, the more that we get to know the true self, which is part of the great self, then the more knowing we have as opposed to believing. Anyways, I'd like to do just a few recommendations, I guess, too. I mean, these are things that worked for me. It doesn't mean it's going to work for you. It doesn't mean that my methods are the best. I'm always looking for new ways to improve my mysticism, my awareness. I think it's foolish of us to stop and say, alright, that's it. And then you get overconfident. You know, one of the enemies on the path of learning is to be too smug with where you are. Until you're perfect, sorry, the battle's not over. That's how I see it. Like the shaman, the kahuna shamans of the Polynesian peoples, you know, whether they're in Hawaii, whether they're spread across the different islands all over in that area. But they had said a very wonderful thing that, and it's true, it's universal for anyone that's a true mystic or whatnot. You take something, as soon as you recognize and see something better than what you have, adopt it and ingest it. Don't be proud and say, oh, no, that fights my ideas, that's insulting me, my intelligence. Yeah, but is it better? Is it more loving, and is it wiser? Is it more fair than what you currently had? Because if so, take it onto yourself. And if not, then with meekness. You see, the spirit of truth and love and wisdom isn't about harshness. It's about love and understanding. Anyone that's peaceful and loving, if they come across anywhere, on whether it's on a forum, on a YouTube, on a speech, or you know, a random talk with a stranger somewhere, if we fight it angrily, then we're not in the right, no matter what. Even if you're right, you're wrong. You know what I mean? Gentleness, love, compassion. These are the things that show the quality of truth of someone that's really on the path to learning. Now, some of the methods I wanted to suggest that had worked for me are a few, and I don't want to say they're culturally tied to an old religion or philosophical school or a mystical practice, but without labels we can say what works. I'd say meditation is a great thing, and when I say meditation, I don't even necessarily mean sitting quietly, letting thoughts come and go. You can do that. I have done it. I like that. See, there's two different things that I personally call it: passive and then active meditation. Passive is more sitting and being still. I don't want to say that it's passive, as if you're waiting for something to come, but in a way you are. But it's more, you know, a non-proactive state. Let me put it that way. So a more proactive state of meditation would be even walking. I have great meditations while simply walking in the woods or in a nice area. Maybe it's more difficult in this city where there's lots of energies and vibrations and noise and smells and colors. Some enjoyable, some not enjoyable. But especially when I go to nature, if I go to the forest or walk along the river on a nice bike path, even that can really get into a deep insight to a wonderful trance. That is very amazing. One very cool experience I had while doing a relaxed state, non-proactive meditation was I was close to the art gallery in Ottawa, and I decided to sit for an hour, and I decided to let my mind listen to the clock on Parliament Hill, so I would hear when it would hit the hour, so I would remind myself that way. So I sat by there, and after a while I started to feel this strong magnetic pull. I thought that my body was sideways, like I was leaning like this. I truly felt that if I opened my eyes I was going to find myself meditating sideways, and people were wondering, what's wrong with this guy? Is that some kind of new practice? But I was totally perfectly straight. And then I waited for the meditation to be over. I waited for the chiming of the bell and said, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be diagonal. And behold, I was not. So that proved to me, with that simple experience, that the soul, the being that is inside me, that is the me, has its own existence and is nothing to do and is apart from this body. It was a way of coming out of myself. And we do it in dreams. We do it in outer body travels. My personal belief is that when we dream, we often leave our body. I mean, when we're sleeping, when our body is at rest, we don't necessarily just stay there. We go out and do things. I think that's for everybody, not just those who are trying to do it. Now, I do not go consciously in and out of that body. I don't lie down and go, okay, time to go out. And I'm still in the in-between sleep and awake is where I do that. It's not so much of a waking thing. I'll just share an experience, actually, speaking of that. This was, maybe I was in the early to mid-20s, and I found myself walking on a familiar street on Somerset in Chinatown. I lived close to there for a long time. And it was early in the morning, 5 or 6 in the morning. Nobody was out, not a soul. And the sun was, I think it was summertime, but the sun was kind of coming along. And the only person I saw was an old Chinese-Canadian man. And he was sitting down, smoking a pipe. He was an old wise man. And I walked up to him and I said, am I out of my body right now? He said, yep. And he said, if you want to go back in your body, just take a puff of my pipe and you'll wake up right away. So I did, and I felt being pulled right back to it like a suction. And I woke up. Now, someone could say, oh, that was just a dream. But I'll tell you, no, it was not. It was a real experience. It's really real out of body experience. I've had a few occasions I felt that I was flying back to my body from somewhere, but I didn't trust myself as a bird, so I was kind of making these giant hops. Hop for 50 feet, plop back down, and then slowly come back and wake up. So that's pretty funny. So the way to see yourself as the you apart from your body, because we're taught so much that we are the body. Western scientific control, and that is an ugly paradigm killing the world in many aspects. At the same time, the other part of science, I'm not going to make fun of all those who want to call themselves a scientist, the other part of science that's leaning into quantum physics is going to prove spirituality. That's why I like to say religion and science will one day become one, such as the Atlanteans had it, and others who were here before, who went through the school and have graduated. And some fell. Put the two together and it becomes one and up. So this is what we are. Another way that I like to say that's helpful to find the soul, the self, is by practicing, and this I'll stress the caution for it because it takes, you must walk very carefully, and I'll make a warning about that.